Bangladesh ICT at the current moment is being rated, and not only by my observation, is still very low. The penetrations, looking into how we look into the ICT market, normally is looking into the internet user, the computer user, right? How many computer user? And in Bangladesh market, you still will see a lot of recycled machine, refurbished machine is being used in Bangladesh, as well as the broadband bandwidth here is still very low, right? So, and the internet user are still kind of like quite low compared to the population, right? So, if not mistaken, you are only have about 5 to 700,000 internet user subscribers. So that is not high, right? Compared to 120, 40 millions population, that means it's not even 1%, right? So looking into this, the ICT penetration is still very low in Bangladesh. But if by next year or now, the Bangladesh ministers or the Prime Minister is coming out with a new Ministry of ICT, I believe we will be able to foresee a lot more new campaign, new initiatives coming up to improve and develop further on the ICT in the country, right? Also, a country that is being developed will also rely and depend on ICT, right? The higher penetration, the better the ICT infrastructure in the country will really show the country, the development of the countries. Yeah. So, in a nutshell, it's a huge potential in Bangladesh. 140 million, right? We just need to look into 5 to 10%, 40 million, right, of the internet user in the next few years. Oh wow, this is like a wow, and it will be very soon. I will see that will happen. First, get into Bangladesh. Well, you know, the city is out of my expectation. It's pretty clean. The roads are pretty big, yeah, and pretty impressive. Because of I was thinking Bangladesh may be still not so developed yet, but you know, it's out of my expectation. It's pretty good and clean, you know, and not expected to be, you know, well, yeah. So, yeah, they give me a pretty good feeling about good things, you know, will be happen here in Bangladesh. In fact, Southeast Asia and South Asia are quite similar of ways of running the business. The only thing is that the Southeast Asia, they have moved into from an emerging market to slightly developed because of every countries in most of the country in Southeast Asia, their internet, you know, connectivity, their IT infrastructures are a little bit more developed right now compared to South Asia. In South Asia, huge potential. The piracy here is high, but I will foresee that in the next 3 to 5 years' time, it's going to be, you know, improve a lot more on the piracy rate, right? So India upcoming, you know, look at their IT infrastructure. Also looking into Bangladesh, you guys are going to focus a lot more in the ICT. Even, you know, in the government sector, you're going to have a Ministry of ICT. This has shown that, you know, the country really focusing in the ICT. Believing in ICT will really further develop the country. So I believe that by, you know, next year, next 1 or 2 years, South Asia region will be pretty much catching up, you know, in like the South Asia. We have just set up Kaspersky Lab India, which will look after the South Asia. Okay, so the rest of the country, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, we are actually relying on our partners. For example, in Bangladesh, our operations are 100% rely to the office extracts, yeah, and they've done a marvelous job for us to gear, you know, Kaspersky to be the #1 positions, you know, in this country. So I guess that for the operation in Bangladesh here, what we really need to do is to do more of the education to many of the computer and internet users to understand more using the legal software. Yeah, will be more appropriate than just a illegal software, because of we are very affordable solution. Yeah, that we actually sell it in Bangladesh. So the operation basically in this region are quite similar because of it's a quite a low income countries. Yeah, that's why that the pricing that we price it in these few countries are basically based on the cost as well as the standard of living in of the people, right? So that's why the Kaspersky would like to build our branding globally, but we market it locally. That's why that we always call ourselves is a global company, global and local, global company. I have to thank Office Extract for doing such a great job, right? And they are the one who represent Kaspersky, right, in this country. Without them, to be honest, Kaspersky has nowhere, right, to be in today's position. Again, number one in consumer as well as in the corporate market. And for the what's it called? The piracy here is, Bangladesh rated is a top 3 highest, piracy in the world, and yet Kaspersky can still doing so well in our consumer and enterprise market. Tell me, how does it really make it? It's really we have a great partners, committed and marvelous, team in the Bangladesh to really help us, to educate the market, yeah, especially the consumer market. Consumer market is very difficult for them to buy, right? Because it's so easy for them to download free, for them to download crack software, pirate the software, right? But yet, our partners, Office Extract as well as our second-tier business partners, they are able to really convince, the customers, hey, please use the original software. And I'm very confident to saying that the software market piracy is 93% in Bangladesh, but we are the pioneer, in gearing out a lower piracy, right, in Bangladesh. And I think this will actually show a very good example to many of the software vendors, to look into the education level, to educate, why piracy is bad, right? So that is where we are leading already in educating, the legitimate IT user, to use Kaspersky. So literally, basically in Bangladesh, our piracy rate, Kaspersky user piracy rate is almost, it's very, very low.